Yo, what's going on everyone? Welcome back. So today we are going to cover the life of Donquixote Doflamingo, who is also one of my favorite characters in this series. But before we begin, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos and to never miss an update. So without any further delay, let's begin the life of Donquixote Doflamingo. Donquixote Doflamingo, also nicknamed as Heavenly Demon, is the captain of Donquixote Pirates, a former member of Seven Warlords of the Sea, with a frozen bounty of 340 million berries, the most influential underworld broker under the codename Joker, and is a former world noble of Donquixote family descent. He is the first son of the late Donquixote Homing and the older brother of the late Rosinante, both of whom he killed out of a feeling betrayed by them. Childhood. Doflamingo is a descendant of one of the royal families that formed the old government and moved to Marineford. However, when Doflamingo was 8 years old, his father Homing chose to cease being an old noble and live a normal life. After moving to an unknown northern country, Doflamingo was still accustomed to his old lifestyle as an old noble and arrogantly expected the commoners to vote for him. Despite his father renouncing his old noble title, the people who they tried to live among resented them due to their long-standing hatred for the old nobles. They burned down their mansion and drove the Donquixote family into a makeshift shaft on a junk pile, forcing the children to eat out of the garbage cans out of desperation. When Homing called the old nobles for their help, only to be rejected, Doflamingo overheard this and was silent with shock. Sometime later, Doflamingo's mother died from illness due to the deplorable household they were forced into. Eventually, the angry citizens tracked them down to their shack and, unable to contain their anger at the former old nobles, attacked Doflamingo, Rosinante, and Homing. The three Donquixotes were lynched and severely beaten, but they ultimately survived. But it was then that Doflamingo swore to kill everyone, which horrified his father, brother, and the mob. At some point, Doflamingo met Virgo, Treble, Pica, and Diamante and displayed the ability to use Hausoku Haki, knocking out a mob who tried to lynch him. Impressed, Treble believed Doflamingo to be chosen by heaven and then gave Doflamingo the Ito Ito Nomi and a pistol, giving Doflamingo the power to exact revenge on anyone he wanted to kill. At the age of 10, Doflamingo then decided to kill his father to regain his former status as old noble. With the pistol gifted by Treble, Doflamingo shot Homing in the head while ignoring Rosinante's pleas to not kill him. He then returned to Marizoa with his father's head in an attempt to regain his old status as old noble, but he was rejected as one of a family traitors by celestial dragons. Since then, he swore revenge on the celestial dragons for rejecting him. Doflamingo managed to flee Marizoa with knowledge of celestial dragons' national treasure, which would later allow him to blackmail his former compatriots to grant him the equal rights that he has lost. After returning to North Blue from Marizoa, Virgo, Treble, Pica, and Diamante then elected Doflamingo as their leader and swore to build him up into the next pirate king and promised to never let anything stand in his way. Ascent to piracy. When he was 17, he was present at Goldie Roger's execution in Locktown, smiling as usual. He finally reunited with his younger brother Rosinante when he was 24, after his younger kin went missing for 14 years. However, because Rosinante had refused to speak, Doflamingo has assumed that his brother had lost his voice from a traumatic incident. About 1 year after this, Virgo was enlisted in the Marines under Doflamingo's orders. At age 25, he encountered a 10-year-old Trafalgar Law in North Blue at a port town called Spider Miles. While strapping himself with bombs, Law asked Doflamingo to let him join. The crew then learned that Law was sick with the Amber Lead syndrome. Law reminded Doflamingo that he would die in 3 years' time, but Doflamingo went on to explain that their family dealt with underworld business and told Law of a possibility for survival, obtaining a devil fruit power that could heal him. Doflamingo also had his crew members teach Law various forms of combat. Doflamingo and his crew later arrived at Minion Island, where the pirates who had the Ope Ope Nomi were based. After his arrival, he was informed of Corazon's treachery by Virgo. Doflamingo expressed his disappointment and deduced that Corazon had stolen the devil fruit. He then used broadcast to prevent Corazon from escaping. Doflamingo later confronted Rosinante after he was captured and beaten by rest of the Donquixote Pirates. Rosinante pointed his pistol at him and revealed his Marine rank. Doflamingo then demanded the whereabouts of Law and the Ope Ope Nomi. Rosinante revealed that Law already ate it and misinformed him that Law escaped the broadcast safely and was in the custody of Marines. After Rosinante firmly declared that Law would not obey him, Doflamingo shot Rosinante multiple times before leaving. When they returned to their ship, the crew came under fire by Suro Squadron. Law managed to escape. At the age of 31, Doflamingo managed to take control over Dressrosa, completely through conspiracy. Doflamingo, Diamante, Pika, and Treble appeared and defeated the King Ricudoldo III and his army, who were making havoc but were controlled by Doflamingo with one of his Devil Fruit's ability, passing themselves off as heroes and setting the grounds for Donquixote Pirates take over the island. After that night, Doflamingo ascended to the throne. He claimed that the former king was responsible for making Dressrosa a poor country and promised wealth to the citizens. In the meantime, he had his subordinates hunt down anyone with an affiliation to the previous king. Sky Island Saga, Zoya Arc. Doflamingo was introduced through his attendance at a meeting held by the old government, supervised by the Fleet Admiral Sengoku after the arrest and dismissal of Crocodile as a member of Shichibukai at Marizoa. Vice Admiral Stainless and Mozambia were seen fighting. One stated that he had no control of himself, his hands were moving by themselves. Vice Admiral Suru told Shichibukai Doflamingo to stop. After being asked to halt with his antics, Doflamingo took matters further by having the two Marines draw their swords ready to kill each other. Just then, Sengoku walked into the room and asked Doflamingo if he was there for a battle. Doflamingo mocked him, and Bartolomeo Kuma backed Doflamingo up by stating they now had a target. Surprised that 2 of the 6 remaining Shichibukai came, Sengoku started the meeting. Doflamingo and Sengoku exchanged comments on the success of pirating. Water 7 Saga, Long Ring Long Land Arc. Bellamy is seen begging for forgiveness and stated that he would never save the flag ever again. Doflamingo saw no use for him and used his powers to have Sarquis attack him. With this done, Doflamingo thought it the beginning of a new age where only the pirates exist and the trust is abandoned. Summit War Saga, Sabordi Archipelago Arc. Doflamingo was revealed to be owner of auction house. Disco called Donquixote Doflamingo to help out since the auction house was owned by him. Doflamingo told Disco that slavery was old news and that they were now in age of smiles. He then told Disco to keep the auction house and never call him again. Disco desperately tried to convince Doflamingo to help, but he refused. He mentioned that all of the Shichibukai were assembling at Marizoa to set up the battle to come, the Royal Shichibukai versus the Whitebeard Pirates. Summit War Saga, Marineford Arc. When the broadcasted execution of Ace started, he alongside Bartolomeo Kuma, Dracul Mihawk, Gecko Moria, and Boa Hancock stood ready for the war. Doflamingo sliced off Orsayar's leg, laughing all the while, and was later confronted by Whitebeard Pirates' 13th Division commander, Water Buffalo Atmos. When Luffy and his party finally arrived at Marineford, he was delighted to see that all the current and former Shichibukai, excluding Blackbeard, were assembled, and at the same time amused that Luffy, the famous rookie, was there as well. When Sengoku revealed that Luffy's father is actually Dragon, Doflamingo commented that Ivankov's appearance at the battlefield and fighting on Luffy's side finally made sense, as Zozu attempted to slam Crocodile again with his diamond body. He was stopped by Doflamingo, who was riding on his back and controlling his movement. As Doflamingo mocked Crocodile, they both clashed with each other. Later, when the Blackbeard Pirates showed up, Doflamingo laughed, saying that this was the best and that things were really getting awesome now. When Whitebeard met is in at the hands of Blackbeard Pirates, Doflamingo once again laughed. When Songs arrived and called for peace between the pirates and the Marines, Doflamingo casually stood where he was, smiling as usual. Summit War Saga, Post-War Arc. With the war over, Doflamingo was seen in the back streets of Marineford, accompanied by several pacifista units, all attacking Gecko Moria. Doflamingo stated that Moria had gotten too weak and thus can no longer fulfill the duties of the Shichibukai, and that he was going to make it look like Moria died in the war. When Moria asked if it was Sengoku who was responsible, Doflamingo pointed up and told him to try higher. Later, Doflamingo informed a government official that Moria disappeared into the thin air before he could deal the final blow. Doflamingo did not seem to care since Moria was critically injured and would probably die soon anyway. He even joked that there was a chance Moria would even come back as a zombie, which befits him. The official, however, was clearly not as amused and scolded Doflamingo for not completing the job properly. Doflamingo then stepped up to the official saying that he does not care about the powers in the old government and warned the official that he would quit the Shichibukai if he feels like it. Dressrosa Saga, Punk Hazard Arc. Doflamingo was first seen after a time skip relaxing on Dressrosa. He was contacted by Virgo, who told him that Law had entered the set production room. Meanwhile, Baby 5 started assaulting Doflamingo with her intent of killing him. While Doflamingo brushed her off, he ordered Virgo to eradicate Law mercilessly, but to also be cautious of Luffy, saying that Kid possesses Haosoku Haki and to kill him if he threatened Caesar's life. Once his attacker was subdued, Doflamingo contacted Caesar and Monet. He informed them that he was going to send Buffalo and Baby 5 to Punk Hazard as support. He also told Caesar and Monet that once they arrived, everyone was to return to Dressrosa after they had completed their missions. After the Straw Hats departed from Punk Hazard, Doflamingo arrived on the island. He used Haosoku Haki, which knocked out the majority of G5 Marines. Doflamingo then demanded them to tell him where the Straw Hat Pirates and Law went. They opened fire, ignoring Smoker's order to stand down as Doflamingo used his string-based powers to slice apart the crew and their weapons. Still enraged, he demanded the location of the pirates. Doflamingo said that Smoker knew too much and used the power of Haki to cut him down. Before he could deliver the finishing blow, the former Admiral Kuzan appeared suddenly and demanded that he step aside. He ignored him and tried to finish Smoker off. Before he was able to make another move, Kuzan froze him solid, but Doflamingo broke out of his ice. He then told Kuzan that he had no intention of engaging him. The next morning, the newspaper reported that he had given in to Law's demands and resigned from the Shichibukai, as well as abdicating his position as monarch of Dressrosa. Dressrosa Saga, Dressrosa Arc. Doflamingo answered the call and told Law that he resigned from the Shichibukai. Law then told him that he could pick up Caesar at Greenbeat, an island north of Dressrosa. By the time Sanji revealed to Law that Doflamingo never resigned from his position as a Shichibukai and that it was actually a gambit to fool Law into returning Caesar, Doflamingo was seen approaching Greenbeat right on time for his appointment with Law, laughing maniacally. However, Law successfully managed to escape, but soon Doflamingo managed to defeat him. With Law in tow, Doflamingo heads back to the palace with Iso. While watching the finals through a visual monitor, he then heard that some intruders, including Luffy, have breached the palace rampart tower. After learning that Luffy was no longer at the Colosseum, he furiously asked who was Luffy fighting in the finals. Later, Doflamingo learned that the Straw Hats were allied with the dwarves from Tontata Kingdom, and some of the crew members had infiltrated the underground world and were targeting Sugar. Doflamingo was then shocked to hear that Sugar lost consciousness and her curse has been broken. He then initiated his birdcage plan, spreading his strings around the island, forming a cage and blocking anyone from leaving. He then used his parasite ability to take control of numerous people in the country, making them rampage throughout the island. Later, when Luffy and Law infiltrated the palace, Doflamingo prepared for a confrontation as they stood in front of him. Luffy aimed an attack at Law. Doflamingo was at first confused, but he realized too late what was going on when Law used room to switch their places, resulting in him getting hit by midsection by Luffy's Gomu Gomu no Red Hawk. As the battle intensified, Law revealed that he has the letter D in his name, much to Doflamingo's shock. After Luffy defeated Bellamy and yelled out Doflamingo's name in anguish, Luffy is in for a shock once he sees Law's dead body. Doflamingo informed Luffy that the birdcage will destroy everything in Dressrosa in about 1 hour. Luffy charged at Doflamingo, but to Doflamingo's surprise, Law suddenly appeared in front of him. Doflamingo attempted to finish off Law again, but Luffy countered him again using Haosoku Haki. Doflamingo then battled Luffy, and though he managed to counter Luffy's early strikes, Luffy exploited an opening and repeatedly punched Doflamingo before attempting to finish him off with Gomu Gomu no Eagle Bazooka. As the battle intensified, Doflamingo turned an entire portion of the town into string to attack Luffy with 1,000 flat-thread string arrows. Doflamingo attempted to trap him in his spider's web. As Luffy enlarged his right arm and readied his final attack, Doflamingo unleashed 16 god threads in a last-ditch effort to kill Luffy. Despite this, Luffy's King Kong gun broke through Doflamingo's attack and slammed Doflamingo into the ground. The force was so powerful that it upturned an entire section of the city in the impact and shattered his trademark sunglasses. His unconscious body was later found by Marines and they arrested him while sending his body in sea stone shackles, formally stripping him of the title of Shichibukai, while Iso publicly apologized to Dressrosa and the neighboring countries for the old government's mistake in letting such a dangerous pirate hold this title, bowing in apology, with all the Marines present in the ruined kingdom. Doflamingo was later locked in a cell aboard a Marine ship. Aware that the ship was headed for Impel Down, he asked for a newspaper every day to prevent himself from getting bored. Doflamingo was successfully taken to Impel Down and incarcerated in level 6. However, Suru did not oblige his request for newspapers. Doflamingo thus started looking for other resources for news within the prison. 4 Emperor's Saga, Levely Arc. While locked in his cell, Doflamingo asked Magellan if he was protecting him and wondered if assassins were coming to silence him, to ensure that Marijoa's secret treasure would remain concealed. He then wondered if he should reveal it anyway since the power of it was decreasing. 4 Emperor's Saga, Wano Country Arc. After the levy, Doflamingo managed to obtain a newspaper and was delighted to find out the massive events going on in the world. Thanks for watching everyone, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, and also ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos and to never miss an updates. Check out these other amazing videos as well. Bye bye and take care.